Organic good food, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is a good life. Oh, 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 yeah, 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 yeah. Come on with me. Come on with me. Let me know that you feel me now. Oh, yeah, oh, yeah. Come on, goody girl. Let's give them some organic good food. Change your life. Change is good. Good is right. We're taking it to a whole nother level. Yeah, 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 yeah. We take good living to a whole nother level. Come on and go with me. Change your food, change your life. Don't you wanna go? Don't you wanna ride on the big side? We're taking it higher and higher and higher and higher. That's for sure. We take good living to a whole nother level. Change your food, change your life. Change is good, good is right. We take good living to a whole nother level. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're listening to the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. I'm Dennis Weaver, your good food guide and founder of Change Your Food, Change Your Life, a fun, high-energy, good health edutainment company with song, story, and entertaining guests designed to inform, encourage, coach, and inspire you to make 100% organic good food choices, foods that are life-giving, not life-diminishing. Remember, eating good equals feeling good. That fun opening cut of Good Living you just heard is from our Change Your Food, Change Your Life presents Good Living, the compilation CD album, and its title track is performed by Anna Maria Paisley. It is the worldwide organic good food anthem with officially registered fans from Tanzania to Tacoma, Athens to Atlanta, Casablanca to Cincinnati. So the next time you hear it playing, stand. Our producer, D-Money, always does right here in the studio. You can catch D-Money on his own show, Fresh Juice, on Wednesday nights, full of cool entertainers. You can get yourself the Good Living CD at changeyourfoodchangeyourlife.com, changeyourfoodchangeyourlife.com. On the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show, we've had guests from all around the United States, Canada, and Mexico who talk, write, grow, mine, farm, police, buy, prepare, serve, make, teach, design, package, and sing about organic good food. They create organic cosmetics, advocate and lobby for organic good food. They read to children about organic good food. They talk about the good health of organic good food. They use organic good food as therapy. They juice organic good food fruit. They grow organic cotton t-shirts. I'm wearing one right now. They help with gluten-free choices, offer zero-waste package-free shopping. They lift spirits with organic floral essences and handcraft an organic sofa so soft you'll go, ah. Uncle Matt himself of Uncle Matt's Organic Juices, the Mistress of Mushrooms, the Queen of Dairyland, the Cactus Tamer, Ms. Healthy Way, the Hamster, the Science Storyteller, and the Professor of Pickling, to name just a few of the previous guests on the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show, all working hard to make that healthful difference in your life. I've told you the story of Mary and Tanya, when a bean is not a bean, and I proved it costs less to live the organic good food life than not. And if that's not enough for you, we've had the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show musical. You're listening to Dennis Weaver, good food guide and host of the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. You know, I'm always looking for the best of organic good food, drink, and beauty to bring to you for your good health and happiness. For the food-funded, slow-money Northern California Zoom gathering I was attending, the host had sent out sample boxes of all the foods and beverages they'd be talking about. I tried the barbecue Pulp Pantry organic pulp chips. They were good. I then heard Kaitlin interviewed on the 15 Minutes of Genius show. She was fun, full of life, and high energy. I Googled the Pulp Pantry website, read good vibes only. You know, good vibes, good vibes, fiber. I knew then perfect for our Rainier Avenue Radio.world audience. So now, the inventor herself of the Pulp Pantry upcycled pulp chips, calling in from Los Angeles, California, here's Kaitlin Mogentale.
Hello, everybody. Thank you, Dennis, for having me.
Welcome, Kaitlin and Pulp Pantry upcycled pulp chips to the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
So very excited to be here. Thanks again.
I'm sure it's going to be an up show. To start right off with, what would you like the audience to know about you?
Well, my name is Kaitlin Mogentale, like Dennis said, and I think on the topic of change your food, change your life, one of my, favorite things as a little fun fact about me, I'm from the Midwest, grew up, kind of the meat and potatoes diet, Italian family, eating lots of crazy conventional foods, let's just say, and came out to California to pursue a degree in environmental studies at the University of Southern California. And in one of my first classes with the environmental studies program, learned a ton about the agricultural industry and its impact on the climate, its impact on our own health, and actually made the decision to go vegan. And so went from the meat and potatoes diet to a vegan diet in pretty much, the course of 2 years. And I will say had some
And you live to tell about it.
And I lived to tell about it and had some great realizations, both for my personal health, as well as just learning a ton about our food industry and how, we as consumers can have a really big impact, honestly. So excited to talk more about that today.
By the end of this show, what's the one thing you'd like our audience to have remembered?
I think it's all about empowerment. And I think, in today's age, information age, the digital age, we're all so overwhelmed with just the crazy information we get thrown, climate anxiety, things that feel so out of our control. And, my mission as a person and hopefully, with what we discussed today, it's just about empowering each of us as individuals to realize that we really do have the power to create changes, and that when we create changes in our own life, it has a ripple effect, and we inspire others. So I'm just hoping that people take away from the show that each of us is a change agent. We're all so capable of doing amazing things to change our food system, change the way that companies do business, change the way our government looks at policies that support better businesses. And especially with respect to food waste, we as consumers are actually the biggest contributors to food waste. And this is kind of the topic of interest today, right? But I'm really hoping that people take away some tips and tricks or just some curiosity to kind of fight food waste at home.
Such a positive person. You say you're a self-proclaimed food waste warrior. What got you started?
Well, like I mentioned, became vegan after my freshman year of college. And really what started this journey, going to a vegan diet, and I'm not here to tell people everyone should go vegan. It doesn't maybe work for everyone, but I had really bad chronic allergies moving to Los Angeles from Chicago and never had allergies in my life. And so it was very interesting because cutting dairy out of my diet actually cured my allergies. And, I had been getting sinus surgery. I was shooting myself in the leg with the things I was allergic to as a sort of allergy treatment. Had a lot of scary moments. Yeah, exactly. It was so many weird things that, when I realized, oh my gosh, just by changing my food, I cured myself from what I thought was, environmental allergies. Maybe it was actually a reaction of my body to what I was eating and kind of how that, there's so many ways it all connects. But with the food waste aspect, this journey for me really, really got me thinking, how can I better connect, not only the environmental issues surrounding food with just the community and personal health issues that so many people experience in our population today, what with obesity. We're dealing with a lot. And so I, started working in an urban garden and got really, involved locally in kind of creating better access to healthy foods. I was at a friend's house, saw her juice a carrot, and it was the moment for me of realizing, there's so much access to fresh organic produce for the haves, of our society. And then on the other end, really the have-nots, right? Like are kind of left with the lack of access to healthy, nutritious food. And so for me, being a food waste warrior is all about paying homage really to food resources and to the fact that, our food resources aren't distributed equally. So how can each of us as consumers really make the most of our food and be thankful kind of for those resources. So that's a little bit of the background there, but I'm happy to dive in more too.
See how that works? Change your food, change your life. You're listening to Kaitlin Mogentale, founder, inventor, CEO, Pulp Pantry upcycled pulp chips, making your taste buds very happy. This is the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. The hottest trend in the food world is upcycling. I know that you, Kaitlin, and Pulp Pantry are at the fore of the trend because my good food friend Gage Mitchell, whose Modern Species design agency designed the International Upcycled logo, told me you were a member of the Upcycled Food Association. So he certified you to me. How about that, huh?
I mean, from the man himself, the creator himself, there's no greater honor.
So you're official. What are Pulp Pantry upcycled pulp chips?
Yeah, so going back to that moment of where I became a food waste warrior, it was at a friend's house watching her juice a carrot, and I just couldn't believe the amount of waste. And I'm sure anyone who's ever juiced has had that experience or created your own nut milk or whatever it is. You see all of this pulp that's left behind. For me, I had just been a newcomer into Los Angeles where the juicing trend was hot, and it was really the epicenter of all of it. And I looked at the juiceries around my neighborhood and I called them up. I said, "Hey, what are you guys doing with your pulp?" And I literally called 10 juiceries, me as a student in the library, basically calling these people up, and all of them actually started talking to me about how much of a challenge and a pain point that was for them. We have all this organic upcycled produce, or sorry, not upcycled, but we have all this organic produce that's going to waste because we don't have anything to do with the pulp, and no farmers will come to Los Angeles to pick it up. And so it was actually something that got me thinking, well, what can I do to maybe take, this really valuable resource and actually create nutritious foods, from it. And so that's where really the concept for these real veggie chips made from organic upcycled produce came about. And today we work with some of the top juice brands, in the country.
So you see why I call you an inventor. How are they made?
So we work right now with two of the nation's premier juiceries, Suja and Evolution Fresh. And so we source from them the organic green vegetable pulp. So it includes anything from celery, kale, cucumbers, spinach. And we're essentially taking that produce out the same week that it's pressed. So they might be making their cold pressed juices, delicious juice, by the way. Definitely love those brands and love what they've done to support, an emerging brand like Pulp Pantry as well. So shout out to them. But we take the organic pulp byproduct the same week it's processed, and we take it up to our plant. It's all a cold chain. And we essentially take the vegetables, mix them with our own, proprietary ingredients and batter to make what would be kind of a standard chip that you'll find in Target, in Whole Foods, and Thrive Market. And so we're really excited about bringing some fresh perspective to the veggie chip category with a more sustainable, healthy offering.
What makes your Pulp Pantry upcycled pulp chips so good for a person?
It's the fiber. It goes back to the good vibes only, and that's why we put it front and center on our website, because pulp chips have nearly 5 times the fiber of your average, chip. They're actually more fiber than kale chips, less net carbs than tortilla chips or potato chips. So we have 5 grams of fiber per serving, which means that a bag of pulp chips is essentially a full day's serving of fiber. And I am known to eat a full bag of pulp chips in a day. So you can be sure I'm getting my full day's serving of fiber in.
And that smile shows. What are the varieties of your Pulp Pantry pulp chips? The varieties.
We have the barbecue flavor, which is my personal favorite. That was developed by one of our undergraduate food scientists back in the day. Jalapeno lime, which is actually our best seller. And bestseller, especially in Target, which is interesting. We have our sea salt flavor, and we have our salt vinegar. And each of them is delicious in its own right. They're great for pairing. And I personally, the barbecue has been, hot for summer, but actually today I'm enjoying a bag of the jalapeno lime. So I always switch back and forth.
Are they all good to enjoy with organic beers?
Organic beers, if that's your thing, yes. And I would even say some wine pairings for anyone who's a cheese lover out there. Goat cheese, or some goat cheese with the jalapeno lime, I've heard is delicious. Of course, I'm vegan, so I wouldn't know. But the vegan cheeses, I love Miyokos, and pairing, some of our pulp chips and a glass of wine and Miyokos, you just can't go wrong.
How do you develop the recipes for your Pulp Pantry pulp chips?
we worked with an amazing pastry chef way back in the day. Her name is Justine Hernandez. Shout out to Justine. She actually has a vegan bakery down here in Los Angeles called Just What I Needed. It's delicious. But yeah, we developed the recipes with her help, and she managed a team of about 3 undergraduate interns from Cal Poly Pomona's. It was their food science program, and they had all entered a zero waste food waste competition. So it was really, really cool that we got to kind of collaborate on developing the Pulp Pantry Pulp chips all together and thinking about what ingredients we wanted in the chips, what was important to us, and how to bring this idea to light.
And that's why they taste so good. You've been featured in the LA Weekly, Shout Out LA, on NPR, Snack Nation, Girls Who Eat, 15 Minutes of Genius, Food Processing, Food and Beverage Entrepreneurs to Watch, Women Entrepreneurs Grow Global, What to Expect When You're Expecting to Go International, 10 other publications, and now on the Change Your Food, Change Your Life radio show. What makes you such a hot property?
Well, I don't know if it's me. I would say that it's just I'm a lucky steward of what I think is, a global idea, or maybe a global kind of anxiety about, oh my goodness, we're growing and accelerating at a faster pace than ever before. Yet so many of us are feeling this sense of disconnect between our health and what's in our control, and our food and what we put in our bodies. And so some of us are kind of going back to simplicity, right? And trying to figure out, like, the food that I eat is kind of my one connection to the earth in a lot of ways today. And so I think for me, granted, everyone lives a different life. I'm in an urban environment in Los Angeles, and it's hard to connect to, I think, back to the simple things that make us human, because there is so much going on. And so I think for me, like, these kind of the momentum that upcycled food has had is because all of us are kind of becoming more attuned to the fact that there are some really big environmental issues. And especially with upcycled food was actually mentioned as the #1 solution to mitigate climate change by Project Drawdown within the past few years. There's just so much momentum with people realizing, hey, like, before we even think about any other future Band-Aid solutions, let's look back at our foundation, and why are we wasting 40% of food in the United States? I mean, that's ridiculous. And I think most of that is fresh organic produce, organic fruits and vegetables, and or organic matter, I would say. But like, finding ways that we can upcycle those produce items and hopefully bring more nutritious food to more people. I mean, we all know food insecurity is also a huge issue. So I think that's a big topic of importance, and that's why we've gotten so much press recognition, which is great.
From thinking about how to save the fresh carrot pulp from your friend's juicing, to inventing Pulp Pantry upcycled pulp chips, to then getting them on the shelves of Target and Whole Food stores all across the country. Easy job?
I would say, the part I had the most fun with was building these supplier relationships, building the product line, and collaborating with, our manufacturing partner. Getting on the shelves is hard. I mean, I think, buyers are actually pretty perceptive to the fact that, hey, I mean, this upcycled food thing, this sustainability, umbrella, people are really getting into this. Like, we got to bring these products on shelf. But obviously, as a newcomer into the space, it's never easy to build those relationships from scratch. But I've been lucky. We do a lot of we have a store request form on our site, for example, and it's been nice because I've seen a lot of consumer interest in, hey, we want to see this product in our local store. And so people submit, requests to retailers, and that always helps, because then it's showing retailers, like, we actually, there is a demand for this from the base level of, like, people want more foods like this in their life. And let's bring it to local retailers where, our shoppers are really located. So it's been a fun adventure and a fun journey. And I'm actually feeling lucky that I'm a newcomer and had a little naivete in the beginning.
And I would say congratulations on the success. I think it can be chalked up to personality, taste, and concept. This is the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World. And calling in from LA, you're listening to Kaitlin Mogentale, the upcycling wizard of Pulp Pantry Pulp chips. We've all heard about food waste, but what does that really mean? What's the real scale of food waste?
Gosh, in the United States, we waste 40% of our food.
Say that again.
40% of our food goes to waste in the United States. I just can't believe it. That's about $408 billion worth of food, according to Refed, which is 2% of US GDP. So we've got a lot of a ways to go. And I would say, one of the other shocking stats for me is that currently food that goes to waste is consuming 18% of all of our cropland use. And it also accounts for 24% of landfill inputs. It's the number one material sent to landfills. So lots of scary stats there, but don't need to scare you further, hopefully.
Why your choice of organic?
For me, organic was important because I saw that our audience, was demanding organic. And I think most of that is because the things that we're sourcing, the peels, the stems, like, the outer parts of the produce, I mean, that's where most pesticides would be concentrated, right? And so if we're going to be putting that, directly in our food, we want to make sure that we're providing people with the highest quality, cleanest, safest food available.
You've mastered reducing food waste on a big scale. How about a little tip on how to reduce food waste in our own homes?
Man, there are so many creative recipes out there. We even on our blog are starting to post some more recipes for people's, food scraps at home. I would say the biggest thing is to, let's say broccoli stems, for example, before you toss anything, look up broccoli stem recipes or things that, you might not have ever thought you could turn into a delicious meal, because there are so many resources out there.
I would imagine a lot of people in the audience have never thought about broccoli stem recipes. So for those in the audience who might have an entrepreneurial dream of creating a business, since you've done it, how about a tip to help make them successful?
I think, pleasant persistence is everything. You're going to get a lot of no's, but you're also going to get a lot of yeses. And I think, the people who rise to the top maybe are just the ones that have really dug in their heels and, had a dream, had a goal that they had in mind, and they weren't going to stop at no for anything. So I think it's just having that pleasant persistence and not being afraid to fall flat on your face to hear no.
I could never see you taking no for an answer. We've just been given a sign by our producer that we're almost out of time. So with the last remaining moments, I'm going to ask you, how many of your own Pulp Pantry Pulp chips do you enjoy every day?
Oh man, well, a bag is technically 5 servings, but I'll say I opened a bag for lunch today, and there's about less than a quarter of it left. So the answer is probably a bag a day.
Well, thank you so much for the show today, Kaitlin, and for your figuring out how to make the best use of vegetables for the sake of our planet and us.
Thank you so much for having me.
To learn more about this upcycling thing and how cool it is, go to pulppantry.com, pulppantry.com. You'll see what the packs of Pulp chips look like, so you can recognize them on the store shelf. And if they're not in your store, stand in the aisle and ask loudly, "Hey, where are my Pulp Pantry chips, huh?" Or if you're shy, you can click on Request a Store at pulppantry.com. You can also order directly at pulppantry.com. There's also a nifty little chat with us feature. And of course, follow Pulp Pantry on Facebook and Instagram, and at Pulp Pantry on Twitter. Does the Change of Food, Change Your Life show bring you the most interesting guests or what? Calling in from LA, the upcycler herself, Kaitlin Mogentale, Pulp Pantry Pulp Chips. Don't ever miss an episode of the Change of Food, Change Your Life show, or you'll be sorry and you won't be as smart and healthy as you could be. Thank you again, Kaitlin.
Thank you so much, Dennis. It's been super fun.
It's certainly been an up show. You've been listening to Kaitlin Mogentale, creating Pulp Pantry chips for your snacking pleasure. This is the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show on Rainier Avenue Radio World. In the weeks following, sometimes you'll spend the full half hour with me, your good food guide, other times with live studio guests. Pastor Gary L. Wyatt sang here in the studio. The good Dr. Herb Joyner May made a house call, and Gage Mitchell, Modern Species, arrived here with organic good food, wines, and chocolates for a pre-show party. And calling guests, as Kaitlin did today. Coming up, the best tortillas ever and a real farmer. And yes, we're waiting for her, our designer darling, Nina Morgan-Jones, and she returns from London to Hollywood. She's getting closer, was in the south of France for a while. Organic good food has its glam, Check out Nina's rompboutique.com. Yeah, that's boutique.com. She sent me a note from London about her new collection with pictures. Romp and roll, baby. In the meantime, feel free to call me your good food guide, Dennis, at 425-774-8971, 425-774-8971, or email changeyourfood@hotmail.com, changeyourfood@hotmail.com. You can get yourself a copy of the songs you've heard today, Good Living, and As We Go Out, Go O, on our Good Living compilation CD album at changeyourfoodchangeyoulife.com, changeyourfoodchangeyoulife.com. There are 16 tracks on our Change Your Food, Change Your Life album, 16 songs that celebrate the joy organic good food brings to life. Jazz, pop, rap, gospel, blues. You can exercise to it, dance to it, sing to it, shop to it, barbecue to it, eat to it, drink to it, learn to it, lift up your day to it, be inspired by it. It has many diverse voices coming together, but with one message. Our Change Your Food, Change Your Life artist ambassadors hope that one of their songs catches your ear and makes that healthful difference in your life. You've been listening to Dennis Weaver, good food guide and host of the Change Your Food, Change Your Life show, along with Kaitlin Mogentale, the upcycler, inventor, CEO, Pulp Pantry Pulp Chips. I'll bet you never thought that you and a savory pulp chip could save the world, but you can, so get eating. This is Rainier Avenue Radio World, and be sure to get yourself the hot new Rainier Avenue Radio World app so you can take Kaitlin and me with you, and it's free videos, live broadcasts, and all the radio shows wherever you are. Change your food, change your life. Begin living the organic good food life, and the rest of your life just may be the best of your life. You'll have no anxiety. You'll feel better than when you began. You'll probably look better, have more energy, and be a few pounds lighter. Well, why not change your food, change your life forever? Honor yourself by making 100% organic good food choices. So we wish each and every one of you in the audience our very, very best, and that you may find your good health and happiness as we have. Thank you for listening. O's up to your health.
I'm gonna so good. If I'm doing it